Hello, everyone. It is Monday.
Hello, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. If you guys knew the technical difficulties we just went through, you would think it was pretty funny, but you don't.
We
So,
were we were live, or we were talking. We thought we were live for a couple minutes, but
but we weren't. So, well, I am Sarah Futa, realtor here in the Denver metro area.
I am Denisse Anaya, here in the Denver metro area as well with the Futa Home Team.
Awesome. And so now you'll be prepared to answer this question, Denise. So, Denise also speaks Spanish. She's bilingual. So, say something fun to us in Spanish.
Yes, buenas tardes. Soy agente de bienes raíces aquí en Denver. Si necesitan alguna ayuda con algo, ahí nos llaman.
There you go. I love it. I don't know what she said, but it sounded amazing. So we're full service here at the Futa Home Team. So
Yeah.
today we are going to talk to you guys about relocating to Denver. We are a very transient state as a whole, especially along the Front Range, and a lot of people move to Denver. Moved to Colorado, really, overall, but wanted to just take some time and talk overall about the different areas of the Denver metro, because I think a lot of people have this idea that they want to move here, but they don't quite understand where they want to move here. So to start with that, I want to talk about what the Colorado Front Range is. When we talk about the Front Range, I mean, basically you take the state of Colorado. It's kind of nice because it's a rectangle-ish shape. And the Rocky Mountains run pretty much right down the middle. And so when you're talking about Colorado, there's kind of probably four areas of Colorado that you would talk about. You've got the Eastern Plains, which is the east side of Colorado. You've got the Front Range, which runs along the Front Range of the Rocky Mountains. And that's where Denver is. So we'll come back to that. Then you've got the mountains, actually living in the Rocky Mountains. And then you've got the Western Slope, which is on the other side of the Rocky Mountains. So we're going to be talking about the Denver Metro, which kind of comes into the Front Range. And the three main areas of the Front Range that you'll hear a lot of people talk to is obviously Denver Metro is in the center of the state. To the north, you've got Fort Collins. And to the south, you've got Colorado Springs. So when people are moving here, we are typically seeing people move to the Front Range. And Denver is obviously the most popular, I would say, followed by Colorado Springs. And then I would say third would be the Fort Collins area, which is northern Colorado. Would you agree, Denise?
And
Yeah.
one quick thing, I don't think our video is up.
Awesome. It's not.
There we go.
Okay, so everyone just heard us talk about, I mean, they could hear us.
Yeah,
So we're striking out today, everybody.
amazing.
But
Happy Monday.
at least you know what we're talking about from the screen that you've been seeing for the last 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So
I was like, I don't want to cut you off. You were on
no,
a
I'm glad
roll.
you did. I'm glad you did. All my hand signals about north, south, east, west Denver, nobody saw. So that's great. That's great. They'll listen to us. It'll be beautiful. So, okay. Well, with that said, you have now heard me talk about what the different parts of Colorado are. I'm going to I'm going to attempt, let's see, because our technology is so great today. To put up a picture here of the counties. Okay, see, now this is where I need to get uh, Denise in the picture because I want you to talk about this. So give me a second here. We're going to work through this. How about Denise? I'm going to work on the layout. You can see the screen. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about what are the counties that make up the Denver metro?
Yeah, so I mean, Denver, of course, we have Denver County, and then, um, I mean, oh, gosh, where do I start? There's like, there's so many cities within Denver. We have um, Cherry Creek, Wash Park, Lodo, like downtown Denver. And then as you branch out a little bit more, that's when we get more into Douglas County more to the south. You have Castle Rock, Highlands Ranch, Parker, Jefferson County, that's Littleton, Lakewood. So yeah, and of course, as close if you are to downtown Denver, a little more expensive things get, and then as well as if once you get a little closer to the mountains, that's also where you'll see a little bit of a difference in price point. Um, as I talk, that's when I show up, huh?
It is. Yeah, we're
Okay.
figuring out this technology thing. So,
But yeah, I don't know. What specific? Do you have any
yeah,
questions?
no, I mean, I think this is a good visual representation of kind of that Denver area. So, Denver County is the most populated county, but also the smallest. And so, obviously, I mean, the only city in Denver County is Denver. That's your main downtown. Um, if you want to be closer to the mountains, people primarily are going to be in Denver or Jefferson County,
Mhm.
because that gets you closer. So Jefferson County is really like Littleton, Lakewood. Those are probably the main cities that people think of when they're thinking about Jefferson County. Going south to Douglas County, the main cities there that a lot of people hear about are like Highlands Ranch, Castle Rock, Parker. Um, it's definitely kind of the newer suburban area of the Denver metro.
Yeah.
If you're thinking of Elbert County, you probably have a horse. You want to be out there a little bit. That's definitely more kind of country living. It's where Elizabeth, Kiowa, those are probably the two major areas you hear about in Elbert County. Arapahoe County is where you're going to have Inglewood, Centennial, Greenwood Village, parts of Aurora. And then the other part of Aurora is going to be in Adams County, where you'll have Aurora and also Commerce City,
Conversation.
right? And then two counties that aren't in here, but that we see that a lot of people think of when they're moving to Denver is Broomfield County, which is north of Denver, and then Boulder County. Um, Broomfield County is primarily Broomfield, Thornton, and then Boulder. Everyone knows Boulder. Everyone loves Boulder, wants to live in Boulder. But Boulder, yeah, Boulder is a little bit different metroplex than the Denver metro. So it does kind of, while it's not far to get to, it does sort of stand out on its own in a different area, and definitely close to the mountains when you get into Boulder. I mean, you're kind of nestled in the mountains. And besides Boulder, you've got like what is it, Louisville and Superior. Those,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
Superior.
those fall in there. So you see on this diagram Weld and Larimer County, that's going to be more that Fort Collins, northern Colorado area. And then El Paso County to the south is going to be your Colorado Springs area. So we're not going to go too much into those areas right now, but definitely want to, um, kind of give you a lay of the land on kind of like north, south, east, west, and central, right? So I'm going to stop
Yeah.
sharing because we've seen that.
I feel like the good thing about Colorado in general is like the Denver metro, we're pretty small. Like we're compared to other states, of course, like we're pretty small, and although there's traffic now, a lot of traffic, it's you still get from the north side to the south side in a fairly quick time. So like, even if you're from Denver to Boulder, it's like 35 minutes, 40 minutes, depending on like where you're coming from, right? But I mean, it's still a quick commute, I would think. I mean, I don't know.
Definitely.
I did for years, so
I think that's a really good point to bring up. In your experience, so, Denise has lived, pretty much been raised in the Denver metro area, and you went to school at CU Boulder
Mm.
and you
Yeah.
commuted, right?
Yeah. So it was I lived in Northeast Denver, so um almost like in between it's Denver County, but almost nearing um I forgot to look at the map, but like almost Adams. Yeah. And then so yeah, and I would have to commute to Boulder, so it was like 40 minutes.
Right.
So not too bad. And then you
Yeah.
get used
I I live down in Castle Rock in Douglas County, and I've used to work in downtown Denver, and I mean, I could get to work, 30 minutes on a good day, but typically about 45, right? Depending on traffic and stuff. Every once in a while you hit a little bit more. Um, but it's a very commutable city. And so like I'm originally from Chicago, and being in the car for 90 minutes for like a 10-mile drive was, kind of the norm, which seems crazy. Um, I mean, I can drive from Castle Rock to Broomfield in about an hour,
Yeah.
right? So it's definitely a drivable city, or even to get to the mountains, right? So, Denisse, you're in Northeast Denver, and I mean, you just went skiing this weekend. Where'd you go?
We went to Breckenridge, so
Okay.
it's typically like 2.5 hours. There was traffic though, so we did like three and a half. But it was snowing, so I mean, there was a winter storm coming. Although
Yeah,
for us, it's not very
right.
bad. But, yeah, it does make a difference with the traveling.
But
But even
even
then, we went there and back the same day.
the
So
same day, right? I mean, it'll take me about 2.5 hours to get to Breck from Castle Rock.
yeah,
Maybe 2 hours, like somewhere in there. Traffic is a big thing. Everyone moves to Colorado and they're like, oh, I'm going to the mountains all the time, and you totally should. But if you're going to go on the weekend, you're going to leave really early in the morning, and you're either going to want to get off the slopes like an hour early to
yeah,
miss traffic, or you're going to get off the slopes, grab dinner, a few drinks, don't drink and drive, and then drive home after the traffic. Because if you drive in the height of ski traffic on the
hmm
weekends, on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like,
yeah. Weekends are crazy.
yeah, you could be in traffic for quite a bit of time. So, all right, well, let's talk just kind of, I mean, I think that gives some good perspective. Obviously, if you're in Jefferson County, a big attraction to Jefferson County is the proximity to the mountains, right? And so you're west of Denver, west is where the mountains are, and getting to a place like Breckenridge from a Jefferson County area is maybe closer to like an hour and a half.
hmm
Where if you're kind of outlying from that, you're more in that 2 to 2.5 hour kind of marker. But let's talk about Denver. So I mean, Denver's the easiest one. It's downtown Denver. It's city living. It's, I mean, high density, old historic homes, the history, right? There's the fun areas, there's the more expensive areas like Wash Park, Cherry Creek, you
Yeah,
know.
there's just so much. Even like Rhino, the Lotos, the Santa Fe Art District, like
Yeah.
those have just now in the recent years just starting to kind of pop off. I think
Yeah.
um, they're fairly new to Denver, and yeah, there's just so much going on: restaurants, bars, breweries. Like they're fun areas, and no matter where you are, they do offer like that walkable aspect of it, and then yeah, just keep in mind the pricing, but
Well, I think, I
definitely.
mean, you've got a lot of opportunity for rent in Denver, right? If you want to rent and kind of experience the city life. I remember when we first moved here in 2003, coming from the Chicago area. I mean, Chicago is a very vibrant city. There's something going on at all times of day. And I remember when we moved to Denver, this was 20 years ago, right? Like I remember being in the city being like, it's kind of quiet. I mean, now you go to the city and it is not quiet. Like there's so much going on. There's so many good places, different pockets, different neighborhoods. You can't go wrong. I think a lot just depends on what kind of lifestyle are you trying to accomplish, right? Are you looking for more of like a family lifestyle, the single life lifestyle, the empty nest lifestyle? What amenities do you want to be close to so that we can kind of hone that in? But our cost of living has definitely gone up in Denver. So, like Denisse was saying at the beginning, the closer you're to Denver, or the closer you are to the mountains, the more expensive properties are going to be.
Yeah.
I think there's kind of, I don't know, what would you say? I feel like there's three kind of key areas people usually have offices in if you're not working from home. And that's going to be downtown Denver, probably the Broomfield area, and then the Denver Tech Center are like the
Yeah.
three hubs that people commute to.
hmm Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, so then south, we've got Douglas County and parts of Arapahoe County. So we call that the South Denver Metro, real original, but kind of more of a newer area. Lots of development going on now. Like I feel like the housing development has come in the South Metro, but now all the like retail and the amenities are coming. I think something that's really cool in Colorado that you see whether you're north, south, east, west, or even central, is Colorado has a real big emphasis on open space and parks and trails, right? I mean, we have 300 days of sunshine here, so a lot of people want to live here. So it's really cool, like as you're adding kind of these different retail and dining amenities and park amenities, like all of that's really taken into consideration for the whole thing. Um, you know, Highlands Ranch is pretty developed out already. Lone Tree, that's where our Park Meadows Mall is pretty developed. Parker, there's only a few places where they're still developing. Castle Rock, still a lot of growth and building happening down there. And then you've got some outliers too, if you want a little bit more of the ranch life. Um, and then Elbert County as well, I think falls into that place. What about kind of east, Arapahoe and Adams, Denise? That's a little more your area.
Yeah, so that's like there's a lot of development, especially like more towards the airport. We've got that the Gaylord Rockies Resort that
Mhm.
opened up just a few years ago. So that has brought in a lot of just more housing and people in general, and there's just so much getting built there too. And we have like the Aurora Highlands. That's a huge part too that's been developing over the last few years. I personally love it, but I'm on that side, so a little biased. But yeah, there's so much.
Yeah. Well, that whole airport city, I mean, that's going to be Adams County. You've got Aurora Highlands already, but the younger generation travels a lot, and people working from home, they're traveling a lot. And so that proximity, like if you want to be close to the airport, you want to be in Arapahoe or Adams because you can take 470, which is one of our toll roads
Hmm.
that gets you straight up there. Like the commute's way easier, and there's a lot of development and growth right now in that area.
Yeah.
Um, west, your Jeffco and Boulder, and maybe even a little bit of Broomfield that kind of falls more north, like Adams Broomfield, I think it's a little bit north, but you know, Littleton is probably one of the most popular suburbs in the Denver metro. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think that, and if we go a little more south, yeah, I think like Highlands Ranch, everyone would want to. Parker, that's like the suburbs that's really attractive for people. But Littleton, you're still super close to Denver, so that's the attraction of having that of
Yeah.
living in
You're like
Littleton.
you're literally right in between the mountains and Denver metro. Like it's a nice sweet spot. But with that, cost of living comes high a little bit there as well. Now there's rentals everywhere. I know before I said Denver is a great place for rentals. It's just I think that has the highest concentration of them.
Yeah,
But you can rent in these suburbs as well. But we get a lot of people who move here and are like, I'm looking for a 2 bedroom to rent for 1,200, which is not going to happen. I mean, I would
Mhm.
say our average lowest rent is closer to 1,800 a month. And so
Yeah,
when you start, I mean, it's not uncommon for people to be paying like 25 to 3,000 a month for rent. And so when you start to do those numbers, that's where we definitely see a little bit more of a benefit from an affordability perspective to purchase because Denver has a higher year over year appreciation rate than the national average.
yeah.
Yeah. Boulder, that's a big one people like to talk about. I think everyone likes the idea of living in Boulder, but it is a different, I mean, it's a different market. It's a different, uh,
It's I feel like it's a whole different world sometimes.
yeah,
You
it
have the
is.
school you have the school, and then there's, of course, like, really big high schools and elementary schools, so it's very, like, you have the college students
Hmm.
and the college lifestyle, but then also there are the professors that live there with their families, and so you have a lot of, like, the family aspect of it as well, that's really strong, and then just the outdoor lifestyle. So,
Yeah.
you just go to the mountains and it's like either it's your backyard or you drive 5-10 minutes to it.
Yeah.
You just go for a hike. But yeah.
You know what city we didn't bring up is Golden.
Oh yeah, Golden.
I know. That's
Yeah,
Jefferson County, right?
that's yeah,
Yeah.
it's considered, yeah. So it's like more to the west.
I
And
feel like
that
Golden's a good mix if you want to be like close to Boulder, but you don't want to pay Boulder cost of living. But you also want to be closer to Denver and you want to be close to the mountains. Like you're right there where the road, like the intersection's right there. Like, do you want to go to the mountains? Do you want to go to Boulder or do you want to go to
wanna
Denver?
go to
Right.
the casinos.
Yeah. Yeah. The casinos. We have casinos in the mountains here in
Yeah.
Colorado. Yep. Good old Blackhawk and
Mhm.
Central City. I driven through. Have you been to Blackhawk, Denise?
I've been once, but I'm not a
Yeah.
casino person.
Commercials. It looks like they have an amazing spa.
Maybe we should.
Maybe you know what? I think we might need to do some research. We
Let's
probably
go.
definitely need a massage since we took the first 3 minutes of this webinar and not show our faces.
I know.
So, um,
It's so fun.
so thinking of this and just kind of in closing, what's one piece of advice, Denise, that you would give someone thinking of moving to Colorado?
I think it's definitely, like, just preference, and then obviously where you are personally, like, are you moving from a big city and wanna keep the big city lifestyle? Are you moving from more of a small city and want to come in here and live more like in the country living? Or do you like suburbs? Do you like the city life? Do you wanna be around breweries? Do you wanna be around dog parks? Like, what like, it's
Yeah.
just I think narrowing down kind of those lists of like, "Okay, I want this is what I want." Like, envision yourself living, do you want to walk to a coffee shop or do you mind driving a few minutes?
Yep.
Um, I don't know. Other
Oh,
than
good. I mean,
Starbucks, that one's gonna be in every corner, but
we have to because our metro is so easy to get around. I think that's a really good point. Like, what kind of lifestyle do you want to have in Colorado? And then sharing those goals, we can help point you to the areas that we think match your lifestyle and your budget. I mean, that's
yeah,
another piece of it. I would say, kind of going on the budget side of things, don't just look at the price of the house. There's a lot of factors that come into affordability, such as property insurance and property taxes. And while we're growing, and to us who've been here forever, property taxes seem a little crazy. From me, who's lived in the Chicago metro, like our property taxes are nothing compared to like Texas, New York, Florida, Illinois, right? Some key California for sure. Some key areas that people move here to. So a $600,000 house in Colorado, from a monthly perspective, could really in fact cost you less than a $600,000 house in California, if that's even possible, or a $600,000 house in Chicago, right? Because there's other factors to the affordability that need to be considered. Our property insurance tends to run a little higher than other places just because of the mountains and the forests and the really dry climate, but our property taxes tend to be lower than other major metropolitan areas. So, I know a lot of people see the price of homes and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, I could never afford that." But there's a lot of other factors that go into your monthly payment. So,
yeah. And in the Denver metro, definitely property taxes vary a lot. So like what you'll get in Adams County is definitely not where you're gonna find in Denver.
right?
Yeah, definitely something to keep in mind. So, um,
Definitely.
yeah.
All right, cool. Well, to wrap up, so next week, Monday, the 12th, I'm super excited. We've got Blake Lindenmeyer who's going to be joining us, and we're going to be talking, like right now, we're talking to you about moving to Colorado. We're going to be talking about people who move from Colorado to Tampa, Florida. We see a lot of movement there. Definitely a different climate, but I think offers a lot of the sunshine that we have here. So that's going to be really great. So we hope you join us for that. I'm going to put up our QR code. Denise, you want to chat about that? I'm gonna do it
Uh,
right.
yes, so we have
Love.
our next free coffee Friday on the 16th at Convivio Cafe from 8 to 9. So stop by if you want to get a free cup of coffee and maybe talk to us. And then what else do we have coming up? We have like our Nespresso giveaway still going on. So if you want to, yeah, for a chance
And
to
then,
win an espresso machine, scan the QR code.
yeah,
Um, what else
and
do
our
we
book, our
have?
book.
Oh, yes, yes, we are. We
All
also
right.
have a link to, yeah, in that QR code if you want a book. It's your first time, or what is it called? Your first home. And it's I mean, even if you're not a first time home buyer, I think it's a great book to figure out what exactly it is that you're looking for. Try to narrow down locations, like whatever the case may be. It's definitely a very helpful book. So scan
Perfect.
that, and it's free, of course.
Yep.
We'll send it to you for free.
Absolutely. So scan our code. We've got lots of great information in there. We hope you join us next week. Thank you for your patience on our technical. It really wasn't a difficulty. It was more of user error, but we'll just go with technical difficulties. If you have any questions about moving to Denver, we hope you reach out to us. All of our information, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff, Futa Home Team, or scan the code. You'll find us there too. So thanks for joining us, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next week.